Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another 10-minute openings video. Today, we are talking about a very well-known opening with the black pieces, that is the Pirc Defense. The Pirc Defense is a special opening because it can really be played against any opening that white plays. It is most commonly played against the move e4 with the white pieces, but if you have played the Pirc, you also know that it's very similar to the King's Indian Defense, which is most commonly played against d4. But in this video, because the Pirc is it has so many different variations based on what white plays, and there's a few different variations of it, I am going to be showing you the classical variation in this video. And if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you request it as well, I might do another couple more videos on the other two variations, which are the 150 attack and the Austrian attack that white can play. But in this video, as I said, we're going to talk about the classical variation. Okay guys, so before I start this, I just want to say that I've been wanting to make this video on the Pirc Defense for a long time because I do like to play the Pirc. I have been playing it as of late, but I don't know a ton of theory on this. I have watched a lot of videos, I have watched a lot of lessons and things, so I hope you guys can get something out of this. Now, as I said, it's played most commonly against the move e4, and against e4, the main thing is d6. You're going to play the first move d6, and if they play d4, which is very natural, just taking the center, you're going to play the move knight to f6. As I said before, it is very similar to the King's Indian Defense, but you will see that it is a little bit different as it is played primarily against the move e4, and the King's Indian is usually played just against d4, like you don't play the King's Indian against anything else. Knight to c3 is how you continue with the white pieces with the classical variation, and then I recommend the move, and you should just play the move g6, just trying to fianchetto. And as I said before, knight to f3 is how they would continue with the classical variation. If they were playing something like the Austrian attack, that would be the move f4. If they're playing the 150 attack, that'd be something like the move f3 and something like bishop to e3, and they would do something like here, long castle. This is very common with the 150 attack. But here we're going to play the move knight to f3, which is the classical variation. And here I recommend you fianchetto, and they play the move bishop c4, which is very normal and common. And here you should castle, and if they castle, you have a couple options. So first, we're going to talk about the move bishop g4, which is most commonly played in this position. Now, the move bishop g4 is very common, like I said, very common in this position. Of course, they do not have to castle, and you will see that some people do go the move h3, which, if they do that, you probably don't want to go bishop g4, and there are really two variations of this opening at this point you can play. So there's the move bishop e4, and there's also, if they go something like h3, you play the move also c6. So c6 is very helpful because they play h3, they don't play h3, you can play c6 either way, okay, no matter what they play. Okay, if they castle, you can play it. If they don't, if they play h3, if they do whatever, you can play c6. But we're going to focus right now in this video on bishop g4, and let's say they attack you right away. The purpose of that bishop being there was to take that knight, so you're going to take the knight there. If they take back with the queen, which of course they should, because taking back with the pawn is just bad, you are going to play the move knight to c6. Now there's a couple of different things they can play. First, they can play the move d5, which, I mean, if they do d5, it's really not that good. It's really not that good of a move because your pawns, when they're in the center, they want to stay together. And the only reason you move them forward, or one of them forward, is if they're attacked by other pawns, right? So, probably not that good of a move. But if they do play it, which some people do, especially if they're like a lower level, I recommend the move knight to e4. Okay, so you attack the queen, you attack the bishop, and if the queen moves, you can just take the bishop, and you can move on. Now, you don't have to play knight e5. Instead, you can play the move knight to d4, which can also be good because you get the knight in, you can defend it somewhat easily. But if they play the move queen to d3 and you want to defend it, obviously, if they take en passant, then you can take back with the knight, which I recommend you do because then you will not lose your knight to the queen. But let's say we're here, and let's say that we play the move c5. They take, you take back with the knight, and you move on, like I said before. Now let's say they play the move after knight to d4, you have this move knight to d7. Okay. Now knight to d7 is very helpful after queen to d3, but there's a little asterisk here, I guess I could call it that, where you can, there's actually a line where you can actually like win their queen, but you lose like 3 pieces for it, which I can show you that. If they play the move bishop to e3, you're going to play the move knight to e5 again, and this only works if they take with the queen, like I showed, like let's show you. So queen to takes d4. If they take with the bishop, then I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there, but if they take with the queen, which you want them to do, you're going to play the move knight to f3 check. Of course, you're giving away this piece, but you're going to get the queen, and you're down 3 pieces here. You're down 2 bishops and a knight for a queen, and it's not preferable, but you do have a little bit of counterplay. You can take the pawn here. You can go after the pawn. The move f5 is always helpful, and you can try and go for some kind of pawn break, preferably not having your pawn be captured, but here, something like that. I don't recommend doing this whole exchange thing, but if you do, let me know how it goes, and hopefully you don't lose a bunch of rating for it. But let's move on to bishop to e3 and e5. Now, hopefully you can play the move e5, which is the whole point of the Pirc defense, is to open the position, because white has this nice position in the center. They have the 2 pawns, they have all these pieces, they can bring another rook, they can bring this rook, but the point is to open the position. Now, if they take, we're going to talk about if they take, if they push, or if they protect. I don't know if we're going to actually be able to get to all 3 of these, but we're going to talk about if they take or if they protect. Maybe if we have enough time, we can go a little over, we can talk about if they push. But let's talk about first if they protect. Now, the move rook a to d1 is probably more common than, say, rook f to d1, but even if they play either one of these, it's not a common move to play with the white pieces. Okay, and if they do it, then I just recommend taking on d4. Okay, if they take with the bishop, then just trade, because that bishop is pretty nice for them. And if they take with the rook, then I recommend them move knight to d7, discovered attack on the rook moves back, and then you can play the move knight to e5, queen to e2. You can, if you like, you can take the bishop. It's fine. It doesn't change anything for you. But after that move, you might want to start thinking about taking advantage of these open files, something, maybe pushing pawns, but just be careful about that. So let's talk about now if they take. If they take, I recommend here taking with the knight. Okay, I would like to take, if it was me, if I was playing this position, I was black, they took, I would take with the knight. I wouldn't want to take with the pawn. Some people do. I would not do that. Okay, I mean, if you find success, obviously go for it, but I would not do that. So take with the knight, I recommend. And of course, their queen is attacked. Probably the only really good move is queen back to e2. Again, you have the same ultimatum. You can take the bishop, that's fine. Again, you're in pretty much the same exact position. Again, here, maybe go knight to d7. I don't know. Again, I haven't studied all the theory. I'm learning along almost with you guys as well. So I'm learning some of the theory myself from watching lessons, from master games, from masters teaching, from my own experience, which is not too much. I would say that, bringing the rook, maybe bringing the queen up, bringing the other rook cannot be bad. Okay. And also watch out for, like, if they get the knight in, if they bring the rook, just always watch out for that stuff. Now, that was all based around them taking. Now, what are we at here? We're at 932. We're gonna try and go for e5. Now, what if they push? Okay, if they push, I recommend going knight to e7. And the reason for that is this is a very common position for black, is to have these knights here. And also, another thing you might see if white plays something like rook to d1, which they might play, maybe even a move like knight to d7, and then, I mean, you can play maybe a6 and b5, or you can play something like, I mean, I've even experimented with moves like c6 to kind of open up this chain. So, like, you play something like this. If they take, then you take back with that pawn and you can kind of get out. I really haven't had a lot of experience with if they push. I do recommend if you want to check more on theory behind the classical, and especially if they push here, then definitely check that out, because I'm by no means an expert on this. I am just teaching you based on what I've learned from masters. And again, if you want to check out master games actually, or master videos, I might just put a link down in the description of this video of the video that I watched that taught me like all the stuff that I taught you basically. So you can check that out. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Again, if you want to see the videos on the Austrian attack and the 150 attack, let me know. I know I only covered bishop g4 in this video. Yeah, c6 is also a very helpful move to play. And if you enjoy, again, please subscribe, please like the video, and let me know if you want to see those 2 other videos on the 150 attack, the Austrian attack, and I'll see you all for the next 10-minute openings video. See you guys later.